And we are live. Hey, good evening, everyone. Good morning if you are on another side of the planet, because this is what is funny with live streaming. I'm Caro BD, Caroline. I'm happy to see everyone for this episode of the Puppet Podcast. We are at episode 68. Oh my God, it's so cool because I'm learning so much by doing this, and we learn, and it's so cool because we met so many great puppeteers, a lot of talent all around the world, and we have this opportunity to gather everyone together, and in this gathering we have people who wants more gathering all together. So we will be all together also on the weekend on the virtual Puppet Con, and it will be so amazing. So yeah, everyone feel free to just write where you are watching right now. And yeah, it's so cool to have you here. Thank you for watching, and yeah, share this wonderful interview who will happen really soon. So I want, because it's for her event that we do that, and I want to put her commercial for this wonderful virtual Puppet Con will happen this Friday it's starting. So all Puppeteers of America will be all together in this, but she will give us all the detail about this. So please, in the screen I put this wonderful commercial. Ta-ta-da. Let's play.
Hiya, Professor.
Why, hello there, Allegra.
Have you heard about the Northeast Region Puppetry Convention?
Not since our last rehearsal, but go ahead and tell the folks all about this grand event.
Well, the whole world is turning upside down. We ain't supposed to wander over yon. That's why we're putting on where you can go but won't be gone. The virtual Puppet Con.
10 days of panels, plays, and prose. Podcast films, all sorts of puppet shows.
There's programming for the types.
Workshop slams and open mics.
There's more than I could mention in this song.
At the virtual puppet, you just can't top it.
You won't believe what's going on.
At the virtual Puppet Con, don't need no parking or a new hairdo.
Stay in your jammies, wah 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 wah.
For the virtual Puppet Con.
Register now.
Yeah, amazing. Hello, wonderful Sharon.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you to be in this wonderful time. Take your busy agenda and make time for us to be here.
Yes, because time is short for us right now, as
Yes.
the event opens on Friday and goes for 10 days.
So yeah, it will be so much fun. But before we talk about the virtual weekend and week, I want you to present yourself, because you are so involved in this puppetry community. So I want you to present to the community. We have Fernando there, who was saying that it's the happiest, awesome podcast. So he feel your happiness too, and it's so cool. So people feel free to put comment right there. But I give you the mic, Sharon.
Sure. So talk about myself then. So I have quite a few decades of puppetry that I've been doing, and what I've gotten into, starting out as a performer, I now have found that I've been working a lot more as an administrator in the puppetry community in the United States, as well as a teaching artist, and doing sort of puppet coaching as well, kind of like acting coaching, but for puppets, going in and sort of show fixing as well, going in and helping people learn how to make their show better when they're using puppets.
Yeah.
So what I sort of excel at is making other people look good.
That's something we need in puppetry for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you decide to organize this virtual puppet con.
Well, so Puppeteers of America is organized by regions.
Yeah.
And the Northeast region is actually, you have to think of Puppeteers of America as Puppeteers of North America. So the way that we define our regions isn't by the United States, it's by the whole continent. So the Northeast region is all the New England states, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York, not New York City or Long Island, but the rest of New York State, and Eastern Canada.
Yeah, I learned that I was part of your community.
That's right, which you didn't know.
No, I didn't.
And so one of the great things, sort of the silver lining to the having to quarantine and not do live performance in person, is that this gives us a chance across the international border there to share our puppetry. So we have puppeteers from from Toronto to the Atlantic, as well as puppeteers all through the United States in the Northeast section. So we're all sharing together, which is really exciting because we haven't had this kind of chance to really get to talk. And one of the great things about this event is that we will have virtual lobbies that will be open and you can chat with people 24 hours a day during the event. So you can meet somebody and end up talking and make arrangements to go talk in private in some other virtual way, as well as have conversations with people about what you saw or what's going on all throughout the day.
That's so cool, because with all of this technology, we can share also image, we can share our creativity, we can talk about the topic that they are really on the table right now about our job.
Right. And something like this gives us a really good opportunity to talk to people we wouldn't otherwise have run into.
Yes.
Which is what festivals are good for. Anyway.
Wow. So I want I want to congratulate you and all your team to doing this. It's so cool.
It's a team of 10 people. Everyone's a volunteer, from the performers, the people doing workshops and films and panels, as well as everyone putting this together. It's a fundraiser. The ticket sales go towards the region's account so we can have more events like this, and our regional puppetry festival that we had to cancel that was supposed to be a couple of weeks ago in Vermont. And so, in order to make sure we have a chance to do that and try to do more things together, we decided to do 2 years worth of work in 6 months. So we've got some very dedicated volunteers, including some people who are not puppeteers at all.
Wow. So you convert people to puppetry.
I do a lot of that, yes.
Yeah, and I'm curious about that because you are so involved in the politics of our world, like puppetry world. So I want to hear you a bit on this, like why it's important to be together in those associations.
Yeah, so in the United States, Puppeteers of America is the national organization, and it has local guilds that are chartered with Puppeteers of America. And so to be a member of the region's where those two worlds intersect. So membership in the region, you are either a member of Puppeteers of America who lives in the geographical region, or you're a member of a local puppetry guild. And some guilds have members from all over the world, especially people who have a, family, or they come over for something in particular, and they want to know what's going on and get the newsletter and things. And right now, there's never been a better time to be a member of a guild because most of them are having meetings virtually. So it's a great opportunity to, join a few different ones and meet lots of new people. And a lot of them are using Zoom for virtual meetings. And so those local guilds tend to be, they can be by state or they're by an area. And then At the regional level is when they kind of come together, and we have every other year a regional festival. On the in-between year between the national festivals that are, so that it's national then regional, national then regional, and the national festivals when we get to all come together, and that will be moving around the country again when we can start meeting in person. We try to take it to different areas of the country, just like the regional festivals try to go to different areas of its region.
Yeah, that's so cool. And it's funny because it brings me a question from the chat. And I'm also curious about that too. So I will put it in the screen. There is an international association for puppeteers.
There is. And it's a really special one too, because while it's an international organization, it has local chapters as well. They just happen to be country chapters. So we're actually going to have a panel discussion. We have a few different panel discussions. One is about guilds. There are 4 guilds in the Northeast region. So we'll have a representative from each of them to talk about guilds. But we're also going to have international organization, or national and international. So we are, if all goes well according to plan, we'll have a representative from Puppeteers of America, from AQM, Association Québécois
des Marionnettes,
and also one from UNIMA USA and UNIMA Canada. UNIMA being the Union Internationale de la Marionnette, which we translate as the International Puppetry Guild. International Puppetry Association. Association. And so, here's an opportunity to learn. They have different publications. They offer opportunities for training, for different kinds of events, to meet different people. All of them are great for different reasons. There's just so many opportunities to meet people and take it a step further than what happens when you meet them online. Meet them online and go meet them in person at an event. It's great.
Yeah.
A few times, from other states, Alaska to Texas, you meet people online, and then you go to an event and you get to meet in person and share puppetry. Is great.
Yes.
And the international one has a congress where they meet. I forgot how many years. If it's every 4 or 6 years.
Every 4 years, and it was supposed to be in Bali, but it was shut down.
Yeah, and so if you're really, really missing Indonesian puppetry, we actually have a special about a collection of Indonesian puppets. Wow. It's actually the largest collection of puppets in North America.
Wow.
And so we're going to have a little talk that is actually being inventoried right now. It's over 20,000. It's about 20,000 items. And so we also have an introduction to what is Indonesian puppetry for kids.
Wow.
So, all kinds of connections to the region.
Yes. You are such a good seller. We want to be there already now.
This is, I've been the Northeast Regional Director, or the Puppeteers of America nerd, for 6 years now. And actually, at the end of this event, I step down, and the new regional director will be stepping into place. So this is all these years of relationships and, finding out who's where. This is not even everybody. Not everybody was available. And I can only get the word out to so many people. You do what you can. And so it'd be, this is only, a portion of everybody here, but we're so happy to be able to come together.
Yes, it's so cool. So everyone who are watching right now, yes, have a look on this wonderful weekend, but it's 2 weekends. It will be like
2 weekends. It's 10 days. We were trying to have 8 days of content and 2 days to then catch up, because on our schedule, we'll release things, and once it's released, it's available to stream until the last day of the event. And at the end of the last day, all the videos come down. except for the Puppet Slam, which starts everything, and the open mic night, or Potpourri, which is at the end. Those you have to see when they happen.
Yes, you have to be tuned and be in real time because it's special.
Right. You gotta, a few different types of things in there. So those are short form puppetry, and it's an opportunity to have a bunch of that. And then there's a lot of content for the rest. On weekends, it really is going from like 9 in the morning to like 10 at night. During the weekday, because children are at school and people are at work, including our tech people. So we are not starting until 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then we go in the evening. So that we start with our youth and families content. Cool. And then about 6 o'clock, roughly, we switch over to the more adult content. And it gets more adult as the evening goes on.
More and more.
Right. Except for our horror day. We have a spooky horror day since it's October.
Yeah.
And we have enough submissions that would fit that. And that day is going really late, like to midnight, maybe beyond, depending on what happens in the next 4 hours.
That's perfect to have a spooky night with puppetry. It's so perfect.
Because puppetry is such a vast topic.
Yes.
Because it's a synthesis art form. So it's a little bit of everything. Nobody does it the same way. So there's a lot to, from the education, therapy side of puppetry, learning about puppetry to make things yourself, watching shows, learning about the history of things, and then just all the different, there's the 5 traditional forms, the hand, rod, mask, marionette, and shadows, and trying to find somebody who does, something with those, as well as all the different materials and then there's combination forms of those 5, and then some modern forms that don't even fit. So it's really exciting to see how everybody's been, interpreting puppetry.
Yes, and I love you use the word synthesis art form. It's combined so much stuff. It's like multi-talented, multidisciplinary artists we will see on the 10 days.
Puppeteers tend to be people who get bored doing one thing.
I like this.
When I'm teaching those kids who they want to act and they want to do the tech and they want to be the administrator, I know that they're probably going to be interested in puppetry because that's what we do. We do all the parts. And
that's a good way to name it.
And we work at non-human scale. It's every scale but human. And then we do human scale when we do mask, although that often gets bigger, and smaller. So, anybody who gets bored easily, puppetry is perfect.
I love that. I recognize myself in this. It's a good way to explain it to children.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, I think puppetry, should be any STEM school, the science, engineering, technology, and math type of school. Puppetry should be their theatrical art form because they have to learn the engineering and planning for an actual use. You're not just making the thing move. It has to move a certain way to fulfill a certain need. Yeah. And so if they have to learn to do that to fit this, it's not we can just adjust. The script says, and the director wants, and the person performing it needs. And so they get to learn about ergonomics of how to make it for the human to interact with the object. How to, marionettes are all about physics. Yeah. Learning about balance and, where the fulcrum point is on things. And because it's all like one big ball, and we come at it from one side and the engineering comes from another, but eventually it's all the same thing. I used to do a lot of that with the robotics team, where there were other mentors who were nuclear science people and mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, computer programmers. And then there was me, where I worked a lot with prototyping, how to make it out of cardboard, how to think about what it needs to do in your planning, and then go build it with those other people. And that sharing back and forth, we use all the same techniques, same tools. It's just our intentions are a little different where we start from.
Yeah, that's so cool, because you name it so well. The fact that it's engineer, it's like technicality of, like, really sometimes it's brainy, like about how we have to think about what is the result I want to achieve with this.
Right. There's those different ways to approach it.
Yeah.
And in fact, we have, and because of that, some of the classes we invited in people who are not puppeteers, who are artists or engineers in other ways. So we have an engineer coming in to talk about Arduino and its use in puppetry, and a 3D printing artist who's going to talk about 3D printing from the design aspect, the manufacturing aspect, the finishing aspect, and how that could be applied to puppetry. Because it's not, the answer to everything, just like everything else, is just one more material in your toolkit. But, we wanted to, and there's some others as well, to encourage people to come and talk to us so we can ask them questions for all the different ways we use puppetry.
Yeah.
Newer materials.
Totally. And we have Fernando who bring this question. It's funny. With all this engineering and science, I'm thinking 3 universal law in puppetry.
That's right. It's one of those ways to promote puppetry when you want to get in schools, is helping them, simple machines.
Yeah.
Is all about puppet building.
Yeah.
A child making a puppet, you're using simple machines to design your puppet. You might get more complex after that, but you can use all those simple machines to making a control mechanism.
Yes, totally. It's so true. I think you can be a good art prime minister of art or government of art. You have the great naming and persistence about naming. We need art in school with this technical mathematics for art. And
yeah, I've done a lot of talking people into it.
That's
years.
I understand why you are the on the board of America. It's so great. So we kind of start upside down, because I always have those questions that I want to ask as part of the podcast. I want to know the why, like what makes the art of puppetry for you, Sharon, and art that you cherish.
Well, that's a good question.
Yes.
My definition of puppetry that I've developed over the years is that a puppet is something that is moved in order to give the viewer, the audience, the impression that the thing being moved has thoughts, feelings, and intentions it does not innately have. Whether that's your finger, or it's a piece of cloth, or it's a fancy sculpture that you've made that you're now moving, since puppetry is a 4-dimensional art form. You could build this great looking thing, but you don't know it's a good puppet until it's in motion.
Yeah.
It's a great looking sculpture, but you cannot tell if a puppet, it's like an instrument. You can look at a very fancy instrument and it looks great, but it's the sound it's also a 4-dimensional art form. Till you hear it, you don't know if it's a good instrument or not.
Yeah.
Is it in tune? Does it sound good? Same thing with a puppet. Does it move well? And often the puppets that are the most effective in performance look terrible in exhibit, because it could be just a piece of cloth and a stick, and it doesn't look like anything. I've even done a show where all the puppets were our bare hands. It's all hand mime. There's nothing to show, there's no thing, but is it effective when you're watching it through time and space in performance? And so finding that balance between those two is, it's that intersection between the two, what it looks like, and how it moves.
Yeah.
And, I get bored easy. And puppetry has been a really great excuse to learn anything. Like, why are you learning? Oh, I might use it one day. I don't know what I'll use it for. I don't know why I want to learn about that topic from history, or, this chemistry thing, or, this this art form, but I'll use it somewhere at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's a lot of passion in this definition, and I can understand why you cherish this, because you must have a lot of fun when you observe this moment of like tune of the puppet.
Yeah. Well, and I love watching other people discover it.
Yeah.
Because I had Albrecht Roser. I studied with him at the Third International String Institute. And that was where I had someone who said, what you're doing, like, you do things differently than everybody else does, and that's okay. You don't have to stop doing things just because no one else thought of it yet. And you can, and then how to share that with other people and to try stuff, even though it was different, which for me was new, because I was used to trying not to stand out. When you're the performer who tends to do the feet on, when you're a multi-puppet because you're short, you tend to just kind of try to stay with everyone else's thing, But if you're doing the whole thing and you're the head and you're everything, you want to, how to explore and find things, and that it's okay to be different. And so I love sharing that with students, because you'll find students are always trying to make their puppets like someone else's. They saw this performer, they've seen that company, or they want to make marionettes, so they think they have to learn wood carving, or they want to do mouth puppets, moving mouth puppets, so they think they have to learn foam. And that there's other materials that could be used, and to explore them and find your own way, your own stories, your own, what you do. The best place to start building puppets is, what materials are you already comfortable with? Yeah. And find ways to make them. So I like teaching kids like origami, fold a piece of paper and now we make a puppet where the mouth moves, drawing. Shadow puppets are one of the best to start them with, because it's so simple in its basic form. They know how to use a pen and pencil, and they can cut stuff out, and that's all they have to do. And then you can get really complex with multiple light sources and shadow masks and, projections. But and so you can work with high schoolers and adults doing that work. But the concepts stay the same. It's just you make it more complex, just like anything else. So it's so fun to watch them discover and then learn new materials you didn't even think of.
Wow.
Trying things to find out, what's opaque, what's translucent, and what's transparent. And just trying materials that you didn't know, were, and then you use them, and then everybody else is all impressed because they haven't thought of using that. It's so really fun to watch other people learn that stuff.
Wow. Yeah. And I can see that kids must have a lot of fun with you. And as you are a teacher, I want to ask you about the path. Like, what would be the best field of study for someone to become a puppeteer, in your opinion?
Well, study with me would be one. There is no same path.
Yeah.
Nobody comes to puppetry from the same direction. I have yet to really find puppeteers who got to it the same way. Puppetry is kind of like the weather, like a storm or a tornado. They form when there are certain conditions. And when you have those certain weather conditions, those things will happen. And puppetry is the same. You'll have places where there's no traditional puppetry form, or in the culture in the area. But I haven't quite figured out what those factors are, but you put certain things together and puppetry will pop up in some way.
Yeah.
And so you never, it surprises you where you find it and who's doing it differently. So there's no, I must study with this person or look at these books. I have talked to puppeteers who have studied in very particular traditions, they went to school for it, and then puppeteers who learned everything on their own.
Yeah.
And they found videos or books or just experimented. And then, discover a community and discover there are people who did what they figured out on their own. Like, other people have already figured it out, but they've got a new twist on it that no one thought, because that's not the way you do it. You do it like this. So that experimentation just makes everything even that much better. So there's no one way. Really try it.
Yeah.
Way. Experiment, and not to be afraid that it looks different than what you've seen.
Yes, it's a
No
good
way. Just what worked before.
That's such a good way to name it and to compare it with the weather. I love it. I love the metaphor. And I want to know for you, your biggest purpose as a puppeteer or as a politics woman of puppetry or whatever. Like, what is your vision for your career in 10 years or in the future?
Yeah, that keeps changing from where it was when I started. But for me, the thing that's kind of always been there is that teaching of puppetry. I really like sharing stuff. And I'm really good at making other people look good. Figuring out what the weaknesses are, what the strengths are, how to compensate for a weakness, or how to make that weakness an actual strength. Because it might be weak in how you're applying it here, but if you do this, that suddenly becomes a strong suit. Like kids who have trouble sitting still and they're really loud and they like talking, that's really tough in a classroom. But boy, do I want that person to be the MC out front introducing all the acts. You know, they're interesting to look at and helping people find how to use what they have even when they thought it was not helpful. Wow. I really like helping people find that, or helping them look even better than, with what they have. And then every now and then I like to perform. So, or even more fun is directing. Kind of pulling everybody else's things all into one, creative piece is so much fun and really hard to do when you're not living near anybody.
I love it because it's so diversified, but as a puppeteer, you can do all of those different aspects of the job and just keep doing all of this and be happy in this.
Yeah. So that's cool. So this event is great because it gives me a chance to pull all these different people together and talk people into doing it.
Yeah.
That I want to hear from and that I want to see. There's people who couldn't do it that I'm sorry aren't part of it. And but so many new people I didn't even know that applied to this, and which makes it all so exciting.
Yes, totally. And you must be a good leader to coordinate all of that. I think just meeting you right there, I'm just like, yeah, I want to.
Yeah, I've been lucky. This is the best team I think I've ever had. Just pulling together and working together, because it's not easy when you have a team of volunteers who don't know each other. Yeah. And there's a couple of people who are not puppeteers who were people I knew, but we've never worked together this way. And then along the way, puppeteers who offered to help in some way, and this might have been a little more than they thought they were getting into, but they've stepped right up and, because I could not. There's absolutely no way I could possibly do this alone. And the other thing is the region, I'm the chair. I end up being the chairman of the executive regional board as the regional director, but there's a representative from each of the puppetry guilds. And it's thanks to them that we have this event, because without them deciding this was something that we needed and to go ahead with organizing it, it never would have happened.
Yeah.
That's why, it's one of the reasons guilds are so important. It's that collective power where we can get together and do something bigger than we could do as just an individual artist or company.
Yes. And we have people approving on the chat. They say, Sharon is a great leader. Boom. That's good. That's to have a team, eh? You need to be taking your place and just, keep it fun.
My job was to find really good people and then, make sure they stayed.
Yeah. And just for your info, Sharon, we have people watching from the Philippines, Florida, and we get also someone Washington and Mexico. So,
oh, wow.
Yay!
And I believe Mexico is part of one of the regions to the south.
Yes, totally.
So they should find out what region they're in.
Yeah. As I
might be like Canada, where it's split up.
Yes, and we have Puerto Rico right there.
All right. And I know that's part of a region.
So people get informed about your association and region.
And we'll have opportunities to ask questions at the event.
Totally. And as we want to conclude with a puppet, do you have someone on your side you want
I did bring one. This is not one of mine. In fact, this puppet's here temporarily, just visiting.
That's good.
Because she's going to be moving to the Northwest Puppetry Center eventually in a couple of years. She'll be part of an exhibit that will be touring. And in fact, she's going to open our open mic night, or Puppetry, on October 10th, I think. Wait.
Oh.
Yes, 9th. October 9th. Friday, October 9th. And so that is Katie Kangaroo.
Yeah.
Who actually, the picture on the wall is her in performance at Bernie Silver's last performance at a puppet festival. She performed with Katie.
Wow.
And so Bernice would have been 107 this October 7th. So in honor of Bernice, our open mic night, which really, for those puppeteers who go to Puppeteers of America festivals, know as Puppetry. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that all together. And Bernice Silver was the queen of Puppetry. She was crowned twice by puppeteers at puppet festivals. And so we are going to dedicate our open mic Puppetry night to the memory of Bernice Silver. So Katie's going to be there to open things up.
Yeah. And so you will manipulate her, or it will be...
Yeah, she'll come on with me. I've got to fix her up and all her friends, and then they'll be going into a tour. So I need to find, if anybody has a place they think that this exhibit should tour when we can, go to things in public again. It would be great to have all these puppets tour the United States, go to a national puppetry festival and be part of the exhibit, and end up at its new home in the Pacific Northwest, at the Northwest Puppetry Center. And then I start work on Bernice's biography.
Wow.
We're working on.
So she's known because we have someone who writes, Katie, the kangaroo. Yes. So
yeah, Katie's well known.
Yeah, so people just commented on the chat. Wow, that's such a good challenge that you give to yourself to write this biography. And
I didn't give it to myself. Bernice Silver gave it to me. She left me with a few different jobs, including this exhibit. We're hoping to put together a not-for-profit organization to help fund this exhibit tour, as well as the upkeep of these puppets, and then to publish that biography. So that's starting to happen now, because we just lost Bernice to COVID-19 this spring.
Yeah,
at 106.5. So this year I don't get to plan her birthday, but our open mic night is applications are open to anyone in the world who attends the event. If you have a ticket to Virtual PuppetCon, you can sign up until October 7th to perform at open mic night. And if we have so many people, we can't have everybody from 8 to 10 on the Friday. We'll have a second night on the Saturday.
Wow. Yeah, everyone, this is an invitation. So yeah, and where they should look, because if people miss it, or we will put it in the chat for sure after the interview, but could you tell us?
www.puppetconnect.com.
Puppet Connect.
Single puppet connect.
That's simple. People, have a look on that.
Yeah, and we're building the website as we go. I know we did 2 years of work in 6 months. We're trying to put all the information as we go and help all the performers, get in there and everything. So that schedule is being released in sections. There's things on their Facebook page. We have an Instagram account as well. So we're trying to get that info out there. And if anybody is really interested, they can always, contact me on Facebook or through Puppeteers of America.
Yes, you still have room for some performance or some, as I could
announce. Mic, not anywhere else. As it is, we are going all the way to Sunday, from Friday to all 10 days have something happening.
Yes, and even the Puppet podcast will be around.
That's right. Even you and you're doing one, maybe two things, which we need to talk about later.
Yeah, after the interview, we will chat about the logistic.
Yes, and you're one of two podcasts that are happening. It turns out there are 3 podcasts in the region.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
true.
And I did not know this before this happened. And then, there's one. Oh, that's great, because that's wonderful. And wait, there's 2? Even better. And wait, we have 3? That has been what's happened all the way through.
Yeah, I think we discover, like, as the online, like this COVID thing brings us to reach to other, like to expand by the indoor, let's say, because we cannot move. So that's good. We met everyone and we stay in touch. We connect.
That's right. We're connecting, hence Puppet Connect. And that's what a virtual online event at its best does. Connects us to a common interest.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sharon, for your time, for your great job that you do towards the community. I'm really happy to know you, to meet you, and to see more of your work in this virtual festival who is happening really soon.
Thank you. I can't wait. I hope everybody gets to come, because we'll all get to chat in those meeting rooms. So there's that networking aspect as well, if people want to go in there. Not that you have to. You don't have to be as connected as that. But we're trying to make it a little bit of something for everybody.
Yes, thank you so much. So Sharon, stay in the virtual studio. We chat after. I would just say the ND word. So bye, Sharon. I remove you like this. Boom. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. I get a blast, and I want to see all of this content in the virtual festival, the virtual PuppetCon. Yes, it will be amazing. So yeah, I see all your comments. Thank you. Thank you to Sharon. Yeah, feel free to write to us. I really want to be in touch. As we said, we are a community. We want to connect. It's really, the podcast is this purpose, is to connect with all the community. So we will have another episode this week. I will just put it on the page really soon. I have to do my homework and connect with everyone. And we will do a studio tour really soon. Look at our Patreon if you didn't get the chance, because we need to promote our art, people, because it's awesome. And as everyone, we love it. So we make to share this passion to all the world. So thank you so much for watching, and share this interview, share the good word of puppetry, and see you soon in another episode of the Puppet Podcast. So yeah, I will put my little jingle. Just a second. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Here.